There were two athletes. One athlete woke up every single day feeling stiff and unathletic, so they resorted to stretching every single day for 30 minutes even though they had no time, just for them to feel like trash the next day. Once the athlete decided to do this secret plyo routine every single morning, they eventually felt so healthy they never had to do anything else again. So in this video, I'm going to explain this simple system, what plyos this athlete did, how to do them, and how to get the best gains possible. If you struggle with patella tendonitis or your approach vertical jump feels sluggish, then the foundation to improving both of these qualities is elasticity and tendon tolerance in the patella tendon. Excessive plyometrics are one of the best ways to improve elasticity and tendon tolerance, which will reduce tendonitis over time and improve your 2-foot bounce or your approach vertical jump. I'm gonna show you the exercise right now.
Next one is probably my favorite out of the entire crew, and it's gonna be front foot elevated and then rear foot elevated. This is when I made my biggest vertical jump transformation. As we do front foot elevated, we're doing extreme early stance where we're completely negative with the shin, and then the deepest angle we get is vertical shin. So this will probably be knee either above toe or knee above shoelace, and we're just oscillating and doing a small jump from negative shin to vertical shin. And then we could do that once again, all the way up to 2.5 minutes per each leg, where we're literally negative shin, vertical shin, right? This is gonna be a little more quad. Because it's an extreme range of motion, it might be a lot of glute for you. It just depends, but we also want a vertical torso, right? So it's very transferable to 1-foot bounce, where when we're sprinting and we're bringing in momentum, we have an early stance, and then we're rolling through shin, and this is probably the deepest range of motion we're gonna get on that 1 foot, and then we're gonna explode through for the dunk or whatever it is. And then to transfer more to acceleration, we're gonna go late stance. We're in this position, torso above big toe, and then we're bouncing down, and then you can see the shins, we're starting vertical and then going knee over toe, right? Very, very acceleration dominant, or knee over toe, then vertical, knee over toe, then vertical. Once again, same thing. It might be a little more glute, could be a little more quad, a little more patella tendon, but you could do it for 2 to 2.5 minutes once you build up. Start off for 30 seconds every single day, and eventually build up to the point where you could do this for 2 to 3 minutes total time. You don't have to do it all at once. Once you burn out, you can go ahead and wait for a minute or two and then do the next set. Once again, the reason why this combo is my favorite is because we're teaching all ranges of motion and getting through that amortization phase of the 1-foot jump and a 2-foot jump. So you amortize, which means you isometrically lock up the tendon right here when you're doing a 1-foot jump. So if your leg gives out on you, that's usually because you can't lock up enough eccentric forces and store and release elastic energy through the patella tendon to actually redirect the force vertical, right? So you're bringing a lot of horizontal speed, and then your knee gives out because it can't handle the horizontal speed. So what we're teaching the body is we're exaggerating how much forces you're putting on by doing it for long periods of time, right? 2 to 3 minutes total. I got all the way up to the point of 5 minutes a day of this. And then when we actually bring in speed at a full approach jump, we don't have to go through those reps because we got those reps right here. Then the same thing for a 2-foot jump, right? Amortization phase, we're right here, and then you're locking up isometrically at these positions, which is acceleration dominant, more knee dominant. So we're teaching our body to lock up isometrically and redirect out, store and release elastic energy in these knee dominant angles. And then we don't have to get those reps up when we're trying to do a max effort jumps. We could just focus in on bringing in more speed and not having to be a strength dominant jumper. We could be a lot more elastic during our 2-foot jumps or our 1-foot jumps, right? So like I said, I probably do about 3 minutes of this a day, every single leg. So it'd be 3 minutes on this leg, you do 3 minutes like this, then 3 minutes like this, and then same thing with the other leg, right? Just like that.
Our Christmas sale is live. All of the codes will either be right here or in the description or in the pinned comment. You can transform your sprint speed with the Speed Academy or just sprint body weight, your vertical jump with just jump, or reduce pain with just protect. Hop on the Christmas sale. It will end January 1st. The foundation to sprint speed and vertical jump is not the squat, it is the ankle. There are plenty aspects to developing the ankle, like the peroneals, anterior tibialis, the flexors and extensors, and much more. But we're gonna show you how to develop all the muscles and the tendons in the lower limb complex with this one simple plyo routine. In acceleration, it's a complete myth that you should be running as straight as possible. And when you're trying to jump higher, you know the difference of feeling stiff versus feeling fluid. Well, one key aspect you need in both of these traits is lateral rotational movement. To resist longer ground contact times due to over-rotation and many other factors, we need a strong block step. So here's an exercise to develop that block step for your sprint speed and your...
Sorry for the look. Obviously, it's really, really dark in here and the quality isn't that good. It's because I forgot to record this clip, so it just looks dark and it's like 10 p.m. right now. So either way, with this exercise is going to be a lateral skater pogo where we're literally bouncing off like this, right? And what's really interesting is that when you're sprinting, we're actually sprinting like this. Hopefully I'll show a B-roll clip or something of, Usain Bolt, and it's a lot of lateral stepping. So people think they're like, just ankle stiffness, you need ankle stiffness, runs faster. They're not explaining the complete picture of that. You need lateral ankle stiffness to be able to deform, right? Resist deformation, because deformation looks like this, where you're striking left and then you're collapsing. And that's where you get really long ground contact times. And honestly, this is what can cause overstriding for that next step. It's because you did this really long step on this first one, that next step or the next step begins to overstride a little bit. So you want to be as stiff as possible. And we can do something small like this. Maybe we're doing this. Eventually, we're over here, all right? And then if you want to make it even more acceleration dominant, we can do deeper knees. So we talked about this earlier, but now you see how I'm loading into my joints, a little bit longer ground contact times. Obviously, it's gonna transfer over to acceleration way more, but these are the type of stuff you need to be doing to develop more specific sprinting-based ankle stiffness. Obviously, straight line is good, but we aren't robots. We have a lot of lateral rotation up here in the trunk, and then we're also coming out side to side, and we do not want to remove that at all. If your coach ever tells you, just run as straight as possible, and you want just forward, I promise you, they don't know biomechanics. It's always gonna be lateral. We want that movement and fluidity to come out naturally. We don't wanna resist it. So same thing for these sets, right? Right here, we do 45 seconds, 2 to 3 sets every single day. And even the deep knee, this is gonna be a little more of a burn, especially in that lateral glute. So maybe start off with 30 seconds, 2-3 sets, and eventually you can get all the way up to 3-4 sets. The whole goal is to hit at least 2 to 3 minutes of these total sets every single morning. Use for 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes every single day. You can even act like it's jump rope. Another variation that I do with a lot of athletes is we'll do regular 30 seconds like this, and then it's here for 30 seconds. So we're doing a little bit of lateral extension, and then a split stance like this for 30 seconds. This you can do every single day. It's ankle dominant, which is really transferable to upright sprinting, right? And it's gonna make you very elastic in the Achilles tendon specifically, which is one of the most important things for upright 1-foot jumping, your sprinting, and anything that is athletic. The next one is a extensive skipping variation. So this one you could do in your basement, or you can go outside and you can skip, right? The important part about this is that we're not letting our heel collapse on the ground. So we don't want to heel off like we would do in a 1-foot jumper right here. We're actually gonna skip all directions and keep our heel from collapsing. This can develop a lot of ankle stiffness, but also develop a lot of tendon elasticity. But the most important part about all this skipping, right, is that we're actually teaching fluidity and elasticity, which is the most important part for your jumping, is being able to be fluid, elastic, and be able to co-contract at the right time. Store and release elastic energy with momentum, right? Because it's very easy to jump like this, store and release elastic energy in the Achilles tendon, but the second you bring in speed, all of a sudden things change up a lot with the forces and the vertical vectors. Horizontal vectors you're bringing in to your sprints and jumps. So you're exposing this for long periods of time, and I'll give you a little more specific on which one helps with which. This, which is forward, this is going to help with a lot more of 1-foot jumping, a lot more approach jumping and sprinting. This, backwards, is gonna help with a lot more deceleration, a lot more acceleration, or even 2-foot jumping, right? It's because you're getting a little more patellar tendon, and then forward, you're getting more glute and more Achilles tendon, right? So when you're going forward, glute, Achilles, it's the prime movers, but when you're going backwards, it's more patellar tendon and quad, which will transfer over to the specific stuff. And then sideways, this is really good for change of direction and developing that fluidity in your movement. Stuff like a crossover where you're going like this, or even like a regular juke where you're in and out. That type of stuff starts at the foundation of these lateral plyometrics. You're also really good for rehab is you're exposing the ankle laterally, which is really good for rehabbing the ankle from a lateral ankle sprain, which we know lateral ankle sprains are the most common type of ankle sprains for all athletes. So this is probably the most effective extensive plyometric you can do every single day. Might not be my favorite, but you can still do up to maybe 2.5 minutes for every variation. So 2.5 minutes backwards, 2.5 minutes forward, and then 2.5 minutes sideways. Not both directions, but just sideways in total, right? All these daily plyos are really helpful for you, but if you don't have a full workout you can follow to improve your sprint speed, you should watch this video right here or hop on the Speed Academy.